You want the Indian accent or say something in Indian?
Yeah, very nice.
Okay, if this thing is not gonna stay. Okay, there. Oop. Man, hold on a second. Cooperate with me.
We're having
There.
technical difficulties. Everyone just hold on a moment. We'll get this straightened out.
Okay. We're good now.
Yes. How's the samosa business?
It's going good. Last week was good. This week I'm actually gonna be making some today.
Okay.
And I mean people love the samosas, so it's going good. I mean, like it's slowed down since March, but people are still loving them, you know? So I'm just keep cooking.
Thank goodness. I'm sure
Yeah.
they love it.
Yeah, and I get to keep cooking and getting creative more with it. I make the regular samosas, but there are some people here that like the meat kind. So
Okay.
the idea came, we made Kahlua pork samosas. So it's it's a samosa with the Hawaiian twist.
Oh,
It still has the potato stuffing and all the
Samoan
spices.
samosa.
Yeah, there you go. It's Samoan samosa.
Use it. I
And
like it.
yeah, it just kind of came to, and it's just people are really liking them.
Oh,
So you know, like I told you, I think I told you before, I wasn't planning on having a Indian food catering business. It manifested, and I'm just trusting the process. So for me, it's been like taking it to the next level. The people are like getting into stores now, and there's a few local health food stores that people want me to present to them and do a little package and see if they want to have the samosas in their store.
yeah. That's a very
So
nice.
we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Just letting that unfold.
Cool. You can start going to the other islands. Somebody takes a trip to those other islands all the time. Could carry some samosas.
They can carry some samosas for me, and also
You know
they can be
people
shipped.
already. Okay.
Yeah, I know people already, and I've done some research. I just have to do the action part. So there are people that
What you mean?
they can be shipped. So there's a way to package them where they're FDA approved.
Okay.
So if you package them within that packaging, they can actually be shipped on a plane and still be fresh. There's a whole system that needs to be put into place. So I have to do some research on that. And like that's what I was thinking, and what's coming is the inner island, to start getting the samosas out to the inner islands, and see how that goes. So I'm learning as I'm going. There's a woman on the mainland when I was doing research for a catering thing.
Mm-hmm.
She is actually, it's like she has what's the word I'm looking for? The platform already. She is making food, homemade Indian food. She has the system down. She actually packages it up and sends it via airplane to at least 5 or 10 states around her, and they're made ready to go. So all you have to do is just basically cook them, and they're really fresh still. So she has it down. I just got to dig a little deeper with her
Okay.
and see. So that's how that's going.
Yeah. Sounds nice. I guess it can all work. Probably everything's dependent upon our own darn meditation.
Yes.
Whatever you call it, our own being in sync, our own hormonal balance and strength,
Yeah.
our own ability to respond to conflict.
Yeah. It's what you were saying. It's learning. It's going within. Yeah. Like.
Yeah. If we could only do that, but we can never do that because we don't feel safe. So how do you do that? I don't know, but I got a few ideas. But if you can feel safe, just for the next hour, for example, then you get superpowered. And then naturally you're going to call the lady because you're just going to be in the mood. And naturally you're just do everything better. But the whole life has got to be devoted to this inner experience of nourishment, stress relief, intervention, advocacy. Christianity says it great. The whole Christian trip of substitution, being saved, somebody else coming in and helping. So in one sense, you've got the voice of you're enlightened and you got to do it yourself. In the other sense, you've got this Christian idea, Jesus out there. And that's actually more real, because when you make contact with the beautiful moment, everything starts to change. And it's difficult. Look at these different Christian principles. Substitution means the bad comes out of you and the good goes into you. Anointing means you get empowered, like just the most wonderful atmosphere you can imagine, which then extends to Anthony and his computer. Justification. It means that even though you have all sorts of growing edges and problems and everything else, you're justified right now. Even though you're on the short end of the stick in many ways in your life, you're justified. Sanctification. You're clean. You look perfect in God's eyes. There's this robe of righteousness. So they call that the Roman road. It's a great way to look at enlightenment, really. And of course, it applies to every tradition, in the Hindu and Sikh and everything. You got the grace of the Guru.
Yeah.
In nature worship, you've got this experience of contacting nature or using the crystals in the room and lighting the incense. And the real key that's so powerful is that we have to, if we want to have protection and providence, find a way to allow life to come back in. And when that happens, you see these amazing bits of wisdom in people. So you naturally are connected with them. So then you become self-realized. You change and do it yourself. Yeah. But you're never going to be as wise or as big as super people or the universe or nature. So there's this humble element of being receptive that kind of cushions the idea that you're already enlightened and you're one with the master.
When you're saying the thing about letting life come back in, I just had the thought is that creating the safety is it like, I don't want to say foundation, but it's a big part of that. Like if you create the safe, right?
You can't drop your defense mechanisms and let life back in unless you feel safe. So all day long, you're trying to control him and control this and control that. And only if you have a significant experience of feeling safe, can you let that person back in that you've been devoted in the last 24 hours to keeping out. And then that's the only way that you can resolve karma, because the difficulties that we have in ourselves or in our lives or in circumstances are one with relationships. It's all a relationship. So you have family and friends and lovers and all kinds of things going. And this sea of movie scenery going on in your life history, the biography of your life, has this addictive component of trying to keep it all out. But if you feel safe, you can let it all in. And then it empowers you because it's like fuel lines coming into you.
I'm just thinking like how, not even thinking, it's just like it like what you're saying, I feel like I'm understanding it. The question that's coming up is, it feels like it's a continuous process to keep creating that safety within in order to keep the channels open. Does that make any sense?
Endless. Perfect. Endless. So that's what the masters of life do. They pause before they say, here's your samosa, thanks for the $3. They pause and deliver the package of energy. So rather than pausing to deliver a package of energy being your method in life, pause to deliver a package of energy this way, which means that you surrender to all of these people. Everybody's offering you a free samosa and you don't want it because you want to give them something and get some money, something. So we build these ideas in our mind of separation that are not based on discernment, they're based on judgment. So if you want to be very, very protected, then you've got to very much surrender. And then it automatically, like a black hole, causes jets of power to come out of you. So you have no problem with then running a business or doing duties or doing your worldly things. But if you do the external things as your method going forward, then you don't really have any power coming into you. So that's what causes aging. So we have to find a way to become receptive again and again and again and again and question our belief systems and our behaviors. And because there's bad karma functioning in different areas of our biological biography. There's bad vibes. So the whole world is kind of run on bad vibes. So if you want to be beyond that, you've got to really surrender and really be quick to respond to keep your own world safe. You got to stay a step ahead of the world. Otherwise, you don't grow gracefully and you don't experience the mystery of life. The mystery of life is what you could trade some of that energy for anything you want. Whatever you want in the material world, it's easy to get if you have substance. Real substance means your own body is packed with power. And that comes from constantly trying to understand what's going on around here. What's going on when you're selling the mimosas? What's going on with Anthony peeking through the door? No. What's going on with
no
different things, you know, family members, behaviors, your own behaviors, the ones that you're afraid about, the ones that you think that are so bad. Grace is, you know, the hallmark of, and love is the hallmark of human existence. That's what everybody is doing everything for. You go to war, you get married, whatever you do, you're doing it in the name of love and God. Pretty much how every country and every person rolls. Yes. So you're supposed to find that towards yourself by being disciplined and understanding the rules of the game. The 3 steps are the rules of the game. It's how it happens. It's not my invention. It's how it happens. You got to have a need before you can start to get healed. So the need is the scribbles map and is the confessions and is the I don't understand, I'm confused, I'm afraid, I did it wrong. If you do enough of that in a sober-minded way, and you then have this stuff on the surface of your mind and body that naturally draws energy from the field. So now the second part begins to function. You feel like you're being fed, you're being tended to, you're being nourished. So you want to structure it and keep on going. Find a new transformation, a new transmission, go into the Sikh world, like I said, go into the Wudang Mountain world, go into the nature trek, go into, I don't know what, but I'll tell you one thing I do know. Don't make outer strategies your future or you'll be in trouble. Make inner strategies your future. And then you'll have outer success too. But you got to do it today. You can't do it tomorrow. If you do it tomorrow, then you're even worse off.
It says that what you're saying, making the inner strategies, because that's what that's what I feel like I want, it's focusing more within and developing, I guess I want to say the muscle, or the discipline. Um,
But it's fearsome to do that because then you can be taken advantage of. You're going within. But it's not true. It's a lie. That's the master martial artist that goes in they fight. They don't go out. So in other words, going in is your only hope to stay balanced. Let's not even say go in. Let's just say see who you are, which is this mind and this body.
Yeah.
So now you can manage the outside from where it's taking place. Where is it taking place? In there. It's not taking place out there in objectified scientific analysis reality. That's not real.
No.
Not a true thing that everybody believes.
Yeah.
It's really taking place within you. So you need to be in touch with within you to see what's going on.
That makes sense. You have to be, because if you're not in touch with what's going on inside of you, I mean, at the end of the day, you really can't, how do I say it? You can't really deal with everything that's going on outside of you because there's a huge disconnect, is what I'm feeling and hearing.
Now that you're calmed down maybe a little bit, the thing with the mimosa is it's there. The lady.
Yeah.
It's here. But if you didn't calm down and you didn't get a little darshan, you might not have thought of it for 5 days.
Yeah.
But right now in its still place, it is being worked out. It's just now the computer is plugged into the conscious mind, and whatever information is going on, I got to make the mimosas, Anthony's over there, I got this and that, it's all here.
Yeah.
Become a quantum computer. You start to process all kinds of stuff at the same time. Because that's here, you're not really doing anything.
So all of that's going on, but I'm more calm and more, it's simultaneous. Is that what I'm getting?
Yes.
Is that
because you're
that's
here.
what I'm getting?
Because you're here where you are. You're just sitting here. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if something makes you feel safe that you can just sit here, now everything you can imagine is in there. Trump, mommy, it's everything. So many things. And you start to kind of just turbo process everything, but you're not doing anything. It's just naturally that's what's happening. So, okay, let me say it this way better. If you're here, if you're just seated where you are, you're not anywhere else. You're not thinking about anything. You're just seated. You have trust in life. You're not thinking about future or past, or just here. Well, whatever's predominantly in touch with you you're going to feel it. So, Anthony, we got to make mimosas today. That lady. So you could see a bunch of these things or perceive a bunch of these things right here. And guess what? Everybody else isn't doing that. So you get an angle on everybody. Because Anthony's not thinking about you. He's doing it whatever. But if you're present right now to being right here, and that's what's close in your environment, then when you see each other again, you're going to have an angle on how to create harmony or healing or whatever. And discernment too. You're going to know what their evils are or whatever. And then they won't be allowed to function because you see them. It's like seeing a thief when they're about to steal something. They aren't going to steal anything. So how quiet can you become? Because if you become very quiet, then you're a living mystic like me. Then you're just cursed forever. You're really fucked. Because now you've got your secret magic self is no longer a secret because you're being that with people because you realize that's the only thing you can be, so you may as well do it. you can't do anything else, it'll certainly be worse. So if you do that, then now the whole universe is going to reference you if you're enlightened. So when you go in the direction of being awake or healed or whatever, all of that giving of mimosa and healing for Anthony and whatever now is freaking quadruples, actually 200 times more, but we'll say quadruples. So that then you get older and you say, well, I'm not going to relax then, because then I take care of everybody gets healed, and then they hurt me, and then so I'm just going to stay separate and whatever, and then you die. I'm just going to be a pig and get whatever energy I can and objectify people, and then you're dead. But if you're really here right now, then you have to be enlightened. You have to be a mystic, because that's the reality of what a human being is. So now you're going to take on, like me, the whole freaking town and all of Lena and all of everybody. And so it's kind of dangerous. But if you can find your feet, then you just become this magic thing, dynamo of more magic. So you never want to think about what magic you are, you know. You want to think about what you could become. Because if you really find your feet right now and land and let transmission come through from Guru Nanak, Guru, now you're talking mimosas like this, like a wave of your hand, and the other islands get the mimosas and you make money. It's kind of nothing to it. But the problem is, can you find your feet here today? Because you can't use your eyes or your intellect or your ears. They have to be surrendered. That's why all the religions talk about them being liars and stuff. Because when you do that with the outside world, you just don't know reality. When you bow to the outside world and allow it to express itself, then you start to receive everybody. Well, you have to find this stuff out before you die. Because if we die today and we didn't find this stuff out, then you're really in trouble. So you got to know about what's going on around here. If you fall in love and become happy today, that's it. Remember the love and sex module metaphor. You first fall in love and you first have sex and all this kind of stuff, and you sleep deeper than you have in years, and you wake up and suddenly it's a whole world of opportunity, and everybody's in a better mood. And your grievances were just, they're not even there. So that's what meditation is. Rob. So the grandfather, the transmissions, how can you remember those things every day as a matter of ritual, routine, and discipline and duty? You could do it in 10 seconds. You could do it in 20 seconds. The discipline here is 10s, 5s, customized. I was talking to a group of people today just before we went on, and I said to them something about the program, and I said, it's basically the best program ever created in the history of mankind. And I say that because, and they laugh. Well, it's just because this is School of Hard Knocks Enlightenment. That's what I should call it. School of Hard Knocks Enlightenment program. So you have to have a clear understanding of how it works. I give you that. You have to have clear practices, 10 seconds, 5 minutes, long routine. I don't know how it gets better than that. The only thing that gets better than that is if it's a real master for me. But besides that, how are you going to do better than that? You know how it works. You know the changes of the breathing. And then my favorite's on one side, And I told him all this. And the scribbles map on the other side. Are you thinking you're going to go beyond your my favorites list and put the grandfather memory? I think it was grandfather you said something.
It was my great grandfather. Yeah.
Great grandfather memory
It was.
put
It
aside.
was.
You don't need that. Do you think you can do that? No. Do you think you
Mm,
can put away the? Well, if you don't remember it every day, you're putting it aside. So whatever
mm,
is the most powerful thing in your path of life, what's been given to you, that's your religion. So you have to accept the discipline of codifying that into a system where you realize that, okay, great grandfather memory, and then there's 100 more. What are the 100 more things? And now you look at that list and whew, boy, you can resolve some issues. And then the scribbles map. This particular bad behavior, whatever, you've done that since you were 2. And it's the same thing. You do it all the time. So that's not going to go away. So that's why I say it's the greatest program ever created. Because those 2 things, and then the others, but the 2 things of the scribbles map and my favorites,
mm-hmm.
I want somebody to tell me how they do better, and then they'll give me some new age bullshit answer. You just don't go into it. You just feel it. You are one with the Divine Mother. You don't need to train or do anything. Just be. And you can find the divine nectar inside yourself. Well, okay, so that's the highest teaching. You don't need any training. And remember the guy that created Zen, brought Zen to the United States. I mean, not created Zen, brought Zen to the United States in the 60s. He said, strictly speaking, no effort is required. However, if you don't make any effort, I don't think you make any progress. So you have to train.
Mm-hmm.
And training, I've given to you models how the masters do it. They pause before they deliver. Master Samosa Healer pauses before they deliver. There's this inward drawing of the bow, and then there's this outward here. Take this healing. Eat it. Don't talk. Eat.
Mm-hmm.
And now they take it in. So that's the master skill, is meditation, that pause, great Olympian. So this is like kind of how it works.
Mm-hmm. When you're saying that, I just no, that's helpful because the structure that you're giving, you just said it's laid out, and I've been doing the 10s and the 5s. I actually did the 5s ironically. I was getting my physical therapy yesterday and he had to ice my shoulder, yeah. And I always count. He had to ice my shoulder.
You count?
It's
That's
healing.
great. Me too. I count all the time.
I was like, okay, let me just start because the ice, right? And I went, okay, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I just count as far as I can get because of the pain.
Okay.
But then all of a sudden it popped into my head. I was like, wait, I can do the 5s right now. So I took that. I've never done that before, and I've sat there counting for a long time.
Guide me through a 5.
Like, you what?
Guide me through a 5. Let's see, 1134, go.
Guide you through a 5?
134, yeah. Guide me through a 5. Go.
Like, you want me to talk?
Yeah, teach me a 5. Teach me 5 minutes. 5-minute routine.
Okay. This is well, the first 2 minutes you could close your eyes. First 2 minutes, we're gonna focus on the scribbles list or whatever it is that you have that comes to mind. Just close your eyes and you're just gonna breathe 2 minutes.
Like yesterday, how I had the walkie-talkie and there was a guy running around town with a gun, waving a gun, and then they thought it was me, and I was detained by the police.
Yeah, like that. Yeah. We're going to spend 2 minutes there.
Today, but they all want to get me because I'm big. Anybody that's big, they want to get. So I don't know. It's tough. All right. So I'm breathing into that, and whether I die in a fiery plane crash, because I take on everything like a Superman. Every policeman, every business owner, everybody. And I don't know if I'll get crushed in the meantime. I mean, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll do it.
Just keep going. Have another minute.
They got the guy, arrested him. And then, there's 20 more things I could say. Just about yesterday. 20 more, like, dangerous, tragic. 20 more.
Wow.
Like every day, like this.
Now we're gonna go into the next 2 minutes of your favorites.
Okay, so you mean like how everybody's God wearing a mask and they're all trying to heal me and I'm just not listening?
That's on your favorites list?
Oh yes, because
Yes.
each person is God, is Jesus, and
Mm.
I'm not receiving him that way. Let me reinterpret how that happened yesterday. Oh, I see. They're just little chicken shits. I get it. And they're trying to heal me. Why don't I receive that? And then the former student, that was probably the guy running on with a gun, maybe, who's half nuts. I tried to save him or help him, whatever. And I saw him, and then the lady that's in the Qigong movie with me, and she like comes this close to me, and I'm like, try not to be paranoid. She's like, well, I know that. Grounding. I'm like, okay. Anyway, so what were they doing at the gas pump? Yeah, so slowing down, and now I'm slowing down, and I'm recognizing, oh, paranoid people. They know more than me. I forgot. Oh, yeah. I remember now. Okay.
There. And from there, you find the pause.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I just had some beans earlier because, we eat a lot of, forgive me. The pause. You mean, oh, I forgot everything is great? What am I, nuts? I got this beautiful house and this garden. I don't have to help everybody. Lena has breasts. There's a lot of reasons for joy. My cat has big balls like this. Never chopped them. Reasons to believe in God. See, now you know the man's path to enlightenment. This is how the man becomes enlightened. He thinks this way. Women think more in the line of, don't you ever tell me size doesn't matter. Stuff like that. We start to become revealed in truths about the most important things in life. Oh, okay. Gurus. So now I remember gurus. Now I can finally shut up. I don't have to do anything anymore. They're responsible for me. I'm like a child. Oh, yeah. Oh, Babaji. Amaji. I saw Amaji live for the first time in years the other day. Amaji live. Look it up. You got to go tune into that. You're in a better time schedule, I think, than me. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think for you it would be around, I think typically, well, the one I went to was like 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But when I went to it, for me, it was like 6 in the morning or something. So.
Oh, yeah, I tried to get on that last one, but I couldn't. The
You
time was
did?
off. I didn't get it. I tried to get on it. I'm on her.
I'm alive?
I'm alive. I signed up for that.
Yeah, but they
So
don't
you get
they don't give me any email to when they're coming live. I have to go and find out. You don't get an email when you're coming live.
I
You never
I
give
think
any.
I
It took
go.
me 2 months to figure that out. You don't get that. You have to go and see. Once
Oh,
her
is it on? Or is it on? Anyways,
oh,
I'll look
Facebook.
at that.
Yeah.
I think Facebook says it.
Ah, so you got an alert for Facebook on the live. That's how.
I'm pretty sure that's how it happens because I got it and then
Yes.
so yeah, sorry to get yeah, I'm pretty sure you get it on Facebook.
So what
On
do
the
I do with
live.
step three?
Step 3 is step 2 you have the pause, and then step 3 is when you find that state, that place where there's I'm not saying this right, I just got my mind went to different places. Step 3 is where there's that pause, but then there's that stillness and that calm, and you can still see the light behind your eyelids.
Oh, okay.
Did I describe
Now
that right?
remember, step 3 is where you're going to find great contact. So in step 2, you're going through the list for the 1,000th time. The prayers that you like, the great grandfather memory. You must have a specific list.
Yeah.
Different meditation initiations. Andrea and I are doing a class. You can go if you want. Oh no, I better just make it on. But we'll post it. Introducing the masters, and she's going to interview me about different masters and stuff. And I'm going to like give a video about them, and the greatest Tibetan master, the greatest this master, and that all kinds. Right? She said 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to do 10 in 1 hour. And
wow.
When you realize that the greatest living meditation master, according to the Dalai Lama, said, Om Mane Padme Hum. Om Mane Padme Hum. Or Amaji, when she's coming out from the stage, say, Om Amriteshwari Namaha, Om Amriteshwari Namaha, Om Amriteshwari Namaha. Or the guru of the Beatles, the guy that was the real supernatural deal, Bhaja Govind, in his voice. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Ho Maneno. And on and on and on. Sikh light and sound initiation. Did you ever receive the light and sound initiation from the Sikhs? That's their main way of meditating, as far as I understand. So you see...
I don't think I did, but maybe I did when I was a kid. I don't know.
Well, you hear the
ask my
Om.
mom.
You try to concentrate on the Om. On hearing the Om. Very advanced meditation technique. That's why the Sikhs have so much light. They got a lot of light, those people.
What's it called again? It's called
let's see, Sant Takar Singh. That's the guy I got initiated from. Sant Takar Singh, or Saint Takar, Tha. Enlightened Sound Initiation. Sikhs, but you can try Saint Takar Singh.
Enlightened Sound Initiation.
Light and sound.
Because I'd like to see if I'm not recalling in my memory that I've had it, but I want to find out. Okay, cool.
And Vipassana from Buddha's meditation technique, and then you get the transmission from knowing that this is the voice of the greatest meditation master. This is the voice of according to Dalai Lama. This is the actual audio recording voice of the guru of the Beatles. So this is my great grandfather memory, but now I remembered 5 more things that people told me about him. And you write those. So now in step 3, you get to the place of finally surrendering after you watched me demonstrate my own first 2 steps with hell, suffering, and confusion and everything. And then starting to slow down and remember to be grateful, and all of a sudden everything changes. It's like, okay, whether I live or die, everything's still pretty wonderful. And then that's when you can find God and Guru, real things. And then I remembered. And you got to do it like that every day, because remember, and you're going to forget in 10 seconds. As soon as the conversation's done, you'll forget everything else. That's how it works.
Okay.
So if you make the ingrained, so that's where scriptures come from. Scriptures are these ingrained things. Where you're my favorites list are chiseled in a rock. Scriptures. So if you remember the great grandfather memories, tell me 5 things about the great grandfather now. About
my Babaji, the one he he was a man of God. He
Write down whatever you
was
want. They call him Babaji, for God's sake.
well, no, they call Baba. It was Kerevale Babaji. Kerevale was the area of Kerevale Babaji or Kambra Babaji. Kambra was
Write all
the
this down.
actual Kambra Babaji.
Yeah, you can place more importance on your own process than telling me. But yeah, write it
Okay.
down. Or you're taking notes on the
Babaji.
computer, aren't you, or something?
Yeah, both. But I do both.
Okay. Okay.
That was just some side notes for me.
Okay.
Babaji.
Yeah, focus on that. Don't worry, I'll be here.
Kere Babaji. Healing, compassion. God. Passionate. Oh. Wise and humble.
There's a picture of him right there, huh?
Yep, I have it right here on my desk.
Good.
I showed it to you the other day.
Yeah.
I have it right there.
It's very nice.
I have it on my desk. I look at it, so I look at it whenever I'm sitting here, like all the time.
Cool. Okay, so now
And
you take a picture of that and you print it out and you put another one in your bedroom and
okay.
keep going, 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 keep going until the devotional life is the only life you have. You've given up people, you've given up everything, and you just want to find God or healing.
That's
Yeah.
that's what you just said. Anyways, that's like the devotional life. Is what you just said until all you want is to find God, yeah, and that's the path, I guess, in my heart that I feel, is there, and it's like been working on like layer after layer.
Yeah.
And finding that it's like, even when I did my first seminar, it's like, want God more than anything else. Like, if you're going to be greedy for anything, be greedy for God, want more of God,
Tell me more about step 3.
Step 3 is having was when the contact point happens, and it's right. That's what you mean. That where that's where the contact happens, and that's where, to me, is when you get filled.
Yes.
By Guru, by God, by Spirit.
All right. Tell me 5 things that you can do to have that experience.
5 things that I can do to have that experience.
5 contact points.
5 contact points. 1 is Babaji. 2 is my connection that I had 15 years ago.
What was that?
That was when I was in meditation. It was during my first retreat my seminar I did, and that meditation, that was such a powerful part. I felt like my heart was just burst wide open. Like, there's the words describing it is like my heart. I was so deep, and it was this part of the meditation where it was just focused on God. It was just spirit, but it was between me and God, and I was in deep prayer and deep meditation, and just so deep. I can't even put words to it. And at a certain point, my heart just opened, and it's hard to put it into words, but it was so tangible. And the tears, I felt like God went into my heart and just
Let me see
shattered all the. What was that?
Let me see your tongue. Okay, go ahead.
It just was yeah, and that was my first.
Breathe.
Sorry.
No, I'm with you. I just want you to integrate this experience.
Okay.
This experience with your conscious mind. Go ahead.
It was the first time that I felt like I felt God, like, but it was beyond what words. It was just so beyond anything I have experienced. But there was so much love. It was just pure, pure love, and this knowing, like there is no separation.
Yeah.
It was like a lightning bulb into my whole system.
Did you write this experience out?
I haven't written it out. I talked about it, but yeah, I should write
Write
it out.
out
Okay.
before you make the samosa, at least in
Okay.
a brief form. The samosas are for tomorrow,
Yeah.
so you got plenty of time for that.
Yeah.
What is it? Later there or earlier? It's later there, right? No, it's earlier there.
It's later.
No,
No, yeah, it's earlier for
yeah.
you. It's
So you're
10 right
good.
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you have this, and you have the "Don't Quit" sign going,
Yeah, that's
have
Anthony's. I love it.
Anthony on the other side,
Mm.
how you're going to print it. I need to print the town before I go into it, because as soon as I step foot on it, everything changes. So if I don't print it beforehand, they're going to know that I'm doing the changing, and then I get attacked.
Mm.
You have to change people's minds without them knowing it.
Mm.
So how's Anthony doing with his neck and back? I've been working on it for weeks.
Yeah, it's helping. It's helping. Like I know he tells me it's helping, and he's doing the exercises that you showed him to do, and
That's
he's feeling. But more than that, I'm noticing
cool.
the shifts. I'm noticing it softening up. I'm noticing him even standing straighter. It's
Good.
just there's like these subtle shifts.
Where is he? Is he callable right now?
Yeah, he's callable. Hold on one second. Let me grab him. Hold on.
Tell him it's very important.
Soon. Anthony? Oh. Anthony.
Like a dog. See that? It's like,
Hold on. I gotta take this. Still hear me?
yeah.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
No. Hold on.
Yes. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
I could hear you before.
What'd you do to it?
You can hear me?
Can you
Yes.
hear him?
We can't hear him very well.
Oh, I can
Hold on,
hear
hold
you.
Oh wait. There. Now can you hear us?
Yes, I heard you the whole time. I've been saying for hours now. I hear you. I hear you. Jesus, God in heaven.
That ghost way.
Okay, he's here. But I'm gonna step outside for a second. I gotta use the living room.
Oh, good.
What's happening, sir?
Well, not quite as tall as I wanted to be. Well,
Really?
it's too late for that now.
Think so, huh?
Probably. And I noticed
Lower
There's
center
more-
of gravity.
oh, that's true. Closer to the earth.
Damn, I'm white. I gotta put that shade thing up.
You live in Hawaii. You ought to get some sun.
It doesn't do justice. I'm a little tanner than this. This is not fair.
Okay.
What's happening, sir?
Well, the path advancing appears retreating. That means that the physical things that we're learning about and doing is way different than the mental things. The physical things have to have innervation to work. In other words, you have to receive energy. You can only receive energy from the 3 steps. How much relationship do you have with your bones? Do you see your bones? Do you see your body? Like me, I see my body and my bones all the time. That's why I'm extraordinarily powerful. But if you see the body within yourself, can you do in your daily life, do you see your bones or you don't see nothing?
I feel my tendons. I see my tendons and ligaments, so I'm close.
Yeah, that's better than the most, actually. That's great. Okay. So tendons and ligaments where, may I ask?
Wrist, neck, shoulder, spine, knees, hips.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had a lot of spots. Yeah, I had a lot of achy spots.
And it's tendons and ligaments. It's not bones.
As far as I know, it could be bones.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Makes sense that it's tendon and ligaments, huh?
yeah, there's calcifications in between the vertebrae, which are bone that wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of the stiffness. Yeah.
Don't focus. The physical is just useless. It's like martial arts stuff. You know, woo,
It's hot in here, man.
about to warm up. So
White light.
the world all the time is external. Everything, everybody. Yesterday, I spent endless hours with all kinds of police and all kinds of whatever. And little me is totally the core support structure for all the firemen, all the police, all the dangers, all the whatever. And I'm just astonished at how chicken shit everybody is, because I'm bad enough. And so what I'm getting at is that there's no internal awareness. Nobody's got any awareness of, I mean, I don't either, I get it, but it's just amazing to see how we externalize our attention. Constantly we get tricked into more doing. We constantly, every time you start to get healed, I'll bet you, so you got healed in the last week, and I'll bet you in the last 3 days you went on turbo overdrive to do with external matters. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I?
Yeah, it kind of takes over. It's overwhelming.
So I'm right, huh?
Yeah.
So the thing is that you've got, I'll try to control myself. You know, I'm disturbed. The thing is that the internal awareness is like your only chance. It's your only hope. It's the only possibility that you have to be more pain-free and things like that. To trust that if the healing that happened in the last weeks or whatever, now say, oh, I can do this. I can, you know, it gave you the ability to do more externally.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happens if you do more the other direction? Eventually, you want to forget the external whatsoever and only do the external from an overflow, not a squeeze. So you've got to constantly do it again and again. You got to constantly go back into meditation, because if you don't, the world is going to just crush you. It's going to crush you no matter how good we do it. But if you can remember the 3 steps and find out, oh, I'm afraid with this, and I'm sad and confused and compulsive. And if you can do that in the first step and go into the second step of, oh, now I can receive Opinder's energy again, rather than desperately trying to battle her. That's what I do with Lena. I'm like 5 feet. I got pressure point skills, baby. Give me some room. And she's like, I don't know what women are talking about in general. I'm very, they call it chauvinistic or something. Because she's like, you know, I say, honey, how's the TV show? And she goes, and it's like 10 hours later, I'm like, oh, fuck. So now I recognize I have to kind of monitor, like I'll give her like 2-3 minutes, and then I'll automatically be like, but when I'm healed, I got so much room that she expresses herself until she overextends, and then she pulls back on her own. Because women in general want to connect, and we in general want to separate.
Mm.
That's how we process. Men process by, all right, let's be quiet now. And then the more serious the situation is, the more you're like, go into silence. This is how men and women work. And the more serious the situation is, the more the woman talks. So it's
No, really?
Let's
I
talk.
don't know what
Let's talk about that. What do you think, honey? So that's what I do. I said, what do you think, honey? I just repeat it endlessly. And then the lady told me the other day. She said, just go like this.
Yeah, that's what you have
There
to
you
do.
go. Yes,
That's
ma'am.
it. Yes,
Yes,
Uh-huh.
ma'am. Another.
uh-huh.
Oh, William, I have an appointment to get to.
All right, wait
on tomorrow.
10 seconds. Yeah, 10 tomorrow at 1, right?
Yeah.
I'm 1 my time. Just 10 seconds. So the third step is you remember how great you have it. And then the energy rushes in, reach the bones, soak the bones.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
I see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Mahalo.
move. Will you and I are moving. I'm getting kicked out of the office,
Uh-oh. Well,
so we're moving.
busy man.
We're moving to the living room here, if I can.
Okay.
Dining room area. How about my Indian spices out? I'll be cooking later.
Cool.
So look at they're all. I can see them or not. All my different spices.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I hope I
Like
get
it's
a both one day.
One day, maybe once I figure out how to ship them out.
Coming to Crestone?
Yeah.
I should go to Kauai.
Yeah, back here. Let's gotta cover this. There.
Okay.
Okay, now we're back.
Well, one of the things that's
no.
difficult to...
Sorry, I'll be right back. Sorry, let me grab one.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, the real key is to remember that as soon as you experience the meditative healing and silence and everything, you have to start over again. And just keep on doing that. Just keep on starting over from scratch with no end in sight and no possibility of being healed. And just start over again.
And every time you just go back to the beginning, right?
Back to
So
the
you're saying
beginning.
start over again, back to the beginning, back to the beginning.
Step 1. I don't understand. I have a problem. I need help. When you can start talking that way, it's very nice because yes, because you now start to receive energy into the most shut off places of your psyche. You know what this class is? This is a class in transfiguration. That's what this is. You know what transfiguration is? I sent you the rainbow body, didn't I? I forget. Transfiguration.
I don't think so.
In Tibet, there's 160,000 cases of people turning into a rainbow or something like that. Let's see here. Rainbow body. Here we go. Photographic evidence proves
Have you heard that in Tibet
human
and
physical
India
body
alone,
can be
there are more
transformed
than
into light?
160,000 documented cases of
Is that you?
No.
Is that ad?
Have you heard
Huh?
that?
Oh, there's a voice going on in the back.
Yeah.
Okay, never. It stopped. Okay.
Okay, here, I'm going to put it on now again and just listen to it.
Okay.
I'll do the screen sharing, I guess. Hold on. La, na, 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 na. Oh, today I get to read Maximus after. That's
Read what?
Lena's book with her mom. And I'm
Uh-huh.
helping them translate it. And that's what we're doing later. How do we do screen?
Oh, cool.
I just remember it's a very fun story. Okay, now we're going to go back here. And
In Tibet and India alone, there are more than 160,000 documented cases of people who, after many years of spiritual preparation, managed to transform their physical body into a body of pure light, transforming the human body into rainbow light and ascending at the time of death. Today we discuss this amazing phenomenon which has been fully documented by the Tibetans for thousands of years. This is happening right now, and has continued in an unbroken line that we can trace since the first Buddha of the Bone tradition, according to tradition close to 10,000 years prior. This has nothing to do with Sakyamuni Buddha, who became well known 2,500 years ago, and whose tradition is not known to produce this phenomenon. Hang on tight as we delve into this subject, which is one of the most interesting areas of research. What is the rainbow body? This will sound like a movie, but here it is. The rainbow body is the transformation of the physical body into light. In other words, is a fully enlightened person, a Jivan Mukti, who also liberates the body into light. Now, there are 3 levels of the rainbow body. 1. The rainbow body. 2. The rainbow body of light. And 3. The rainbow body of great transference. The most common level is the normal rainbow body that occurs only after body death. Every 5 years or so a Buddhist from Tibet enters into the state. There are no physical signs indicating the start of the process before death, and once physical death occurs it takes on average 7 days for the body to shrink and dissolve into light, and most of the time a small child-sized body remains behind, and in more advanced yogis only hair and nails. In the ancient times this phenomenon was known very well. In Sufism, or Tasawwuf, which is often defined as Islamic mysticism, the inward dimension of Islam, it is called the most sacred body and the supra-celestial body. Taoists refer to it as the diamond body, and those who have attained it are named the immortals and the cloud walkers. Yogic schools and tantric teachings call it the divine body, while in Kriya Yoga it is referred to as the body of bliss. In Vedanta, the superconductive body, while the ancient Egyptians called it the luminous body or being, Ak, or the charis. It is referred to as the immortal body, while in the alchemical tradition, the Emerald Tablet calls it the golden body. In order to attain the rainbow body, a person has to be able to liberate their body into light by having only loving thoughts, among other things of course. It is believed that not every 5 years on average, an advanced Buddhist monk enters into this enlightened state.
Wow.
This process is extremely powerful, and it is said that weeks before being able to achieve this transformation, some Buddhist monks can engrave their hand and foot onto a wall. Many historical occurrences are well documented. The great thing about the Nyingma, which are the Red Hats, one of the four main Tibetan Buddhist traditions, oldest and closest to the ancient tradition, and the bone which is the ancient tradition which predates Nyingma according to some by 10,000 years, is that they are excellent record
Watch this. I'll be
keepers.
back in a few.
They both also have a
Okay.
common method of practice called Dzogchen, the great perfection. This is a real gift to mankind. It has its own identity, and is free of deities and religious overtones. It is simplicity itself for the prepared student. Dzogchen is known as the practice which brings about the rainbow body phenomena. According to Tibetan Buddhism, Dzogchen is the natural, primordial state or natural condition of a human being, and the practice of Dzogchen is a body of teachings and meditations aimed at realizing that condition. According to Dzogchen literature, Dzogchen is the highest and most definitive path to enlightenment. From the perspective of Dzogchen, the ultimate nature of all sentient beings is said to be pure, all-encompassing, primordial clarity or naturally occurring timeless clarity. This intrinsic clarity has no form of its own, and yet is capable of perceiving, experiencing, reflecting, or expressing all form. It does so without being affected by those forms in any ultimate, permanent way. The analogy given by Dzogchen masters is that one's nature is like a mirror which reflects with complete openness, but is not affected by the reflections, or like a crystal ball that takes on the color of the material on which it is placed without itself being changed. If you hadn't thought of it already, in the movie Star Wars, it's what happened to Obi-Wan Kenobi when he allowed himself to be struck down by Darth Vader. His body immediately dissolves into space. However, he merged with the Force and continues to guide and mentor Luke on his path to Jedi enlightenment. Star Wars may be just a movie, but it is a pop culture example that millions are familiar with, and yet another idea that George Lucas borrowed from Eastern mysticism. There are many tales and legends of the great beings who attain the rainbow body within Tibetan culture. While it is understood that only highly realized beings reach that state, the many individuals whose story depths left the signs and traces that they had attained the body of light are people from peasants and farmers all the way up to the highest lamas and rinpoches. Certain famous historical figures in Tibetan history, including Padmasambhava and Milarepa, are often depicted in paintings in rainbow body form. However, not only do teachers in the modern day recount incidents of the rainbow body from their memories from Tibet, but contemporary masters have attained the rainbow body themselves. Now, let's look some evidence that all point towards the rainbow body being a very real thing, and not at all part of religious history, but something that continues to occur right up to the present day. Where is the evidence? Ordained Catholic priest Francis Tizo documented the case of Khenpo Ajo, a Gelug monk of Khan, Tibet, who died in 1998, and how he managed to transform his body into a body of light. David Steinrast, a Benedictine monk, proposed in 2002 a scientific investigation with the Institute of Nordic Sciences to study the so-called body of light, or rainbow body, saying that if we can establish as an anthropological fact that what is described in the resurrection of Jesus has not only happened to others, but is happening today, it would put our view of human potential in a completely different light eventually. David Steinrast contacted Father Francis Tizo, who was known for frequently traveling to Tibet, and asked him to look into this incredible phenomenon. The case of Khenpo Ajo. In this photo we see a frail but happy Khenpo Ajo a few weeks before his transformation, looking happy. Witnesses report that only a few days before his death a rainbow was seen over his small hut. Apparently he was of the opinion that this transformation was very possible while still alive. At the time of death he was reciting the 6-syllable mantra Om Mani Padme Hum on his right side. Then his breath stopped, and his flesh became pinking or brilliant white dependent on the witness. He was then wrapped as is tradition on the recommendation of his friend Lama Hos. Throughout this process, those present said they could notice he was getting smaller, not just the flesh, but the length of the bones. Other signs, mentioned in the old texts, were noticed in this period, such as perfume, beautiful music, and more rainbow light. This continued for 7 days. The body once wrapped is left alone. When they then went to unwrap the body only to find he had gone. There was no more body apart from some hair and nails. Witnesses including Lama Norda came forward saying that Kenpo Hos had appeared to them in dreams and visions. This is well documented in other cases whereby final instructions were given to students. The event was well recorded by local press who gave specific accounts of what had occurred, and the rainbow body appeared in an Institute of Nordic Sciences Review 59, March-May 2002. Curiously, the rainbow body of Kenpo Ho was also mentioned by Matthew T. Kapstein in The Presence of Light, Divine Radiance and Religious Experience, University of Chicago Press, 2004. Tolkumpina Rigzel, a Nepalese monk, recounts Ocho's transfiguration. Recently, on August 29, 1998, at Dongkangak in Ozirong in Tibet, Kenpo Ocho, 80 years of age, attained physical dissolution. One day at noon, lying in bed, without having suffered any recent illness, while in the posture of a sleeping lion, and reciting the 6-syllable mantra, he attained Buddha in the primordial basic matrix of alpha purity. His heart of clear light reality perfected beyond the intellect. As his body dissolved into light, his wrinkles vanishing, he seemed like an 8-year-old child with a beautiful complexion. After a week had passed, when people came to know of his death, they performed his death puja secretly in order to deceive the authorities, and at that time, rainbows appeared inside and outside, and a pleasant aroma pervaded the place. His body gradually diminished in size, and at the end, he attained Buddha. Not even his nails and hair were left behind. It was just like a bird flying from a rock. People nearby have no idea where it might have gone. The case of Lama Bubsar on 2016. Lama Bubsar achieved the lesser transformation, meaning his body did not transform entirely into light and instead significantly shrunk. Enough that he could be fit inside a small box. The pictures speak 1,000 words. Here is one of descriptions from Nalger for the following pictures. These photos show the small rainbow body or Jaluchong, after 7 days of continuous practice following the final regular outer breath, ordinarily called death. He was a Dzogchen practitioner affiliated with Kat Hog Monastery, Kham, Eastern Tibet. He studied with the great Kat Hog Sicha Rinpoche as well as with Adzam Rinpoche's son Adzam Giles. Moreover, he received teachings from Jamyang Khyentse Lodro and Nyashokan Rinpoche. Nalger. There was another one recorded occurrence in 2016. A practitioner that also achieved this transformation. Her name was Tasha Lamo. This is another incredible transformation in modern times. Again, it was a small transformation, meaning the body shrank. Tasha Lamo was the mother of Lokdor Rinpoche, which is one of the Tulku and Nyingma Katok monastery. In the photo, see her in life, and then we can see a significant shrinkage of the body, so much so that she fits into a small box. This quite graphic picture really brings home the reality of this. It is happening. The last transformation with photographic evidence is the one of Lama Achuk Rinpoche photography that seems to show up some strange phenomena. Rigorous research is still required. There is more than enough physical evidence and reliable witnesses to merit more academic research into this subject. This great Rinpoche achieved the rainbow body at the age of 84. Having inspired his disciples in life, his greatest lesson was in death. His body shrunk from 1.8 meters to approximately 3 centimeters tall. A clear sign of achieving the small transformation, almost the full transformation. Apparently, the picture showing the rainbow light was manifest by this Lama. The lotus was, according to witnesses, only visible in the picture. Make your own mind up on that one. Buddhist Master H.E. Dzogchen Khenpo Chobu Rinpoche writes of his teachers passing into a body of light. My precious teacher Dzogchen Lama.
Babaji.
Mm. Wow.
Baba. Wild, huh?
Wild, yeah.
So, deathing.
Wow. What was that?
Deathing.
Mhm.
In meditation, death is a big, big secret.
It's a big secret.
It's part of the most advanced, part of the way to get miracles.
Okay. Is that, well, I don't need to know the secret yet. No, but I'm not sure. I felt like I had a question, but I don't. What was that? Hold on. This thing is doing something weird.
No, I did that. I did it.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh no, I can't hear you again.
So in meditation, you have to go through death without dying necessarily. In other words, if you can experience the moment of your death, when you come back from that, you have extraordinary life. So, of course, that's kind of like semantics because we're not actually dying, right? So,
Yeah.
but every advanced meditator will say that you have to go through death to meditate.
I've heard that.
What does it mean to you? Excuse me.
What does it mean to me?
Mm-hmm.
It means basically you die, but there's the part of you that dies is, I have the feeling of it. I'm not just the feeling of it is like you're like to me it's like the whole identity, everything that you are, everything that you thought you were, you believe you are, you die. It no longer exists.
So when you
And
go
that's terrifying.
that's a rule. Because you don't get to step 3 unless you die. So again, it's semantics a lot, but you can't put words around death. Like, oh, you don't really die.
Yeah.
No, you experience what you told me, which you're going to write about today.
Okay.
Where you call it Opinder's Enlightenment Experience 1. And now we're going to have another one. And one of those things that happened when you had that experience was that there's kind of like, there wasn't the you as you know yourself every day, with the torturous relationship between yourself and others and gain and loss and, so many different factors of heaven and hell. That wasn't there anymore.
Mm-mm.
So you've got to die to be reborn. So turbo evolution in meditation means that you're dying and being reborn like the stars. I had this experience one time where there was this gal and she was holding me in the water doing this therapy thing where they move you in the water in the hot springs with her and move me around the water. And I just went into this meditative place and I felt that the stars were turbo spinning. Like, how the galaxies go in these cycles, and that's your evolution over time. It's the evolution for planets and human beings. I felt it was turbo going.
Oh, wow.
And that I matured 1,000 years in 10 minutes or a minute, 30 seconds or something. So to let go, if Anthony can let go of himself and you let go of yourself and I let go of myself, then this all becomes a cauldron where the person, whoever he's on the call with, they're trapped in too, where there's just no more, you don't have a future or a past or a you. It's not part of this here. So while you do that, everybody else is trying to do the opposite. So you have to insulate yourself during times and places that you can accomplish this and not be run over, so that when you get the power, you can then print. You put it out there to the samosa table. You put it out there to the lady for the other island. You put it out there to Anthony's neck. You put it out there to Opinder's sense of self-worth and love. You print. You just heal people. And it's also a matter of your own safety to do that healing, because it grounds the environment. So me, you, Anthony, and whoever's on that call. No more time. Suspended animation. It's like death. Similar to dying. So the guy whom the Dalai Lama said is the greatest living meditation master said, I always go through the bardo in my meditative absorption. So you have to practice death. If you don't practice death, you can't live.
That practice death. Okay, I mean, I'm getting what you're saying. I just had another glimpse of when you're talking about it is, there was another point when you just reminded me of it. We were doing this specific breath work at a certain point in this thing. And there was another point where there was no me, is the best way I can describe it. And it did feel like I was dying. Like there was a physical response. But after the fear, whatever was going on, after that place, I guess, then there was just, the words you're describing are triggering the feeling that was there. There was no this or that or being anywhere or going anywhere or even this body anymore. And there wasn't any fear at all. It was just this stillness. But there's more than that too. Is that kind of what, when you're describing that?
Don't worry about words. They'll never work. So,
yeah, that's what thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that, because
yeah,
that just helped me. What you just said right there helped me, because sometimes when I'm trying to describe, I'm like, it's a
no.
because you
can't.
can't.
I point. I say a bunch of words, and if you can look at the words like a finger pointing at the stars, then you get it. If you want perfect words more, then you can't have any faith to figure out what the other person's saying or something. Forget it. So there's no way actually you can say it. You can say something, and the other person. Buddha said it this way: when you get into the boat to cross the river, you get out of the boat. When you're on the other side of the river, that's what words are. So I don't have much of a experience of words, except when, like the dangerous circumstance of yesterday, where if it's the wrong word, you could be in trouble or something. In the world, you have to be very precise about your words and try to be perfect, but there's no way to really do that. So even in the world, we've got to have more faith in the feeling. But with spiritual conversation in a safe place, I just don't even bother.
Thank you.
It's not interesting.
No, okay, thank you. Because it like even when I'm saying it, so that just helps me a lot. So thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Because there are no words to describe what I'm trying to describe. I'm like,
please write it down, because what happens is you're going to make a Bible.
Okay.
And if you don't write this down, what I said or whatever, words will never work. If you don't write down the great grandfather, and then you're going to add 5 points to it, and you write it down. I'm going to add 5 points to my great grandfather's memory. If you don't write it down, then you don't have a map. In the matrix world, remember my phone is the matrix. If you're not very clear about the path of enlightenment, then you don't have a path to follow. So the human mind doesn't do a path because it doesn't do words. at a deep level, you don't believe in words or paths. And so you don't create one, and you don't have gurus and teachers, because you know that they're inside yourself. I mean, I've said this 1,000 times, right? You know, inside yourself, you have that special magic. You've got the special sauce. And you're just waiting for everybody else to figure out that you're the special girl, you know.
Mm.
But you don't need to write anything down or say anything. But if you don't write it down or say it, then you don't have a map back to the feeling, because you're totally lost in thought, totally lost in distraction, totally lost in desires and repulsions. So there's really no way to get the experience of enlightenment once a day, which means you're cool. That day's fine. And there's no way to map it back if there's trouble or if there's problem and you have to clear up your karma or something, unless you're very specific about that thing I just said, and then the grandfather thing and the 5 points, and then you keep adding it. So you eventually you develop a map to be able to turn into light, because you become very happy about knowing that, oh, if I remember that quote and I remember that grandfather image and I remember that thing. So then you train yourself like the worst retarded person in the world. You have no understanding. You do step 1. And you know that the words point to being wrong. I'm wrong. I'm traumatized. I'm ignorant. I'm whatever. If you can't reach that level of height, then go from this class, because I'm not playing for other people. I'm trying to teach myself. And that's very advanced, to be wrong. And so that's kind of it, or traumatized or ignorant or something. Or bad, wrong, and the problem. It's wonderful. And then step 2. Oh, I forgot the garden and the trees. And oh, look at Opie's hair. Oh. And you just start to start to calm down again. And now you know that you're doing this process again. And you got the map. You know in step 2, since the bubbles burst, and you know that you ain't right. And you got the second step of your grace coming in. Senses, psyche, centers. So one of the things about the rules of the game is that words can't possibly work. So you're going to have to read even the instructions of 1, 2, 3, bubble bursting, slow down, whatever the 3 are, with this idea that the words don't do it. You have to, when you say bubble bursting, sucking is sucking, that's a whole universe that you could never, ever fulfill the obligation. If you could, you'd be enlightened right now if you did any one of those steps. Oh, step 2, slow down. Okay. My favorites list. Okay. And you learn more things like touch the earth. That if you touch the earth with your mind, this is something that is generated in me over 30 years of constant study. That the idea of the mind touching the earth is extraordinary when it comes to physical healing. I have ability to heal people, I guess, whatever. And that's why I'm so psyched with physically. That's why I'm so psyched with Anthony. I wonder if he could get what I'm talking about, because you never know. Maybe some magic could happen before. And one of the basic things of that, and maybe it's for mental healing too, is that if your mind touches the earth, that's some kind of magic. Yeah, it's the same. But I've always known more about the physical than the mental. But now I'm getting more mental. So it allows me to actually become, I feel like I'm almost an adult. So that allows me to start to do the mental stuff too, the psychological stuff. So I think it's the same thing, really. There's something about touching the earth with your mind. If you can touch the earth with your mind, that is, well, Buddha touched the earth, you know, when he got enlightened, his finger touched the earth. So it's a tremendous fascination for me, what this means. Touch the earth with your mind. Because as soon as you do, you gain ground. So the earth underneath you in the place where you're at has all kinds of connections in psychic space to everybody. It's the densest part. It's the manifest reality of your physical life is really underneath you. It's down there. So the place of the greatest opportunity and the greatest curses is really down there. So when the mind touches the earth, it's like deep sleep. The body becomes very, very heavy. And you start to get into this subtle nourishment and the extension of the attention span. And this and the cosmos and the God and the darshan, it comes down and through the body. Touches the earth, touches the earth. So this is like step 2. So you're remembering, like I'm remembering now, just by going over the points, you remember some of the things that can happen for you in step 2. And you develop this religion about step 2, according to Opie. Religion about step 1, according to Opie. Now you get to step 3 naturally. You don't get to step 3 by trying to avoid your mind-body relationship behavior karma. You get to step 3 by just being very, very present here. And you can go through step 1 and step 2 instantly. If you want to practice like that, you can do it in training, 5 minutes long, 2 hours. When you get to step 3, now the idea of no life, no death, no you, no me. Deathing is a way to realize that, experiencing the sacrifice of your future. It's to sacrifice your future. You can do that, then you got a chance of being a Superman. I still believe I'm going to be a Superman with the worldwide legacy. Although it's great, now I'm old, so who knows, maybe I'm just delusional. But I know that the chance for that to happen as kind of some neat thing that could happen would be to sacrifice it. To totally forget about my life and my future. So when I practice, that's the kind of stuff that I do. And when I get to step 3, now I have this receptivity because step 1 and step 2 is functioned. And now the grace of the guru can come as an intervening force. Because all of a sudden, from a particular point, like what you have for particular points, great-grandfather, that experience of enlightenment, the waterfall, if there's one, the bike path place. So you demand of yourself, and in step 3, you're going to get to the non-cognitive place of just receiving, because you've got instructions, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. And do 3 hours, and then you start to be like this all the time. So in step 3, you go from the point of contact, great contact in gallons. You catch that phrase that I put out? Great contact in gallons is important, because that was when I went saw the Amaji and I'm in the parking lot. It was like I hit this waterfall of superpower. And in seconds, I realized that I was starving and I was feasting on gallons of intervening vibes. In this step 3, you're starving and feasting. You realize you're starving, and now every lust you can imagine is being satisfied. You're feasting with your whole body on advocating vibes. That's something that's important. That's why Christianity is so great in real Christianity, in the tenets. So he's an advocate. Jesus is an advocate. And I know from School of Hard Knocks that that's what you need. You need an advocate. You need a lawyer. You need something else to make everybody, every single person, I don't care who it is listening. You must have this experience of opening up your perception so much that you realize that the devil's stalking you and it's on you, or, bad vibes or fears or something, whatever you want to call it, and that you need something else to come in. This is very advanced in the New Age world, because they don't do that. They just do, I'm the master. I don't follow directions. Nobody follows directions and instructions. Never. It's absolutely almost impossible or person to follow instructions and directions. Well, as you become more awake, the bird comes to save you. And it's come as an offering to rescue you. And if you want to be separate from the bird, you're going to hell. So hell, devil, it's all very real. I mean, look around the world. You don't see hell and devil. So the advocating is amazing. You turn you allow the functioning of your life to be taken over by the bird. And then with a lot of practice, you too can become a bird brain. So, but you let the sunshine, let the sunshine in.
Outside.
So you no longer are a factor again, like death. So now you're not you anymore. The bird's taking you over. The sun ray has taken you over. The great grandfather grace gift has taken you over like a little girl and has grabbed your head and said, walk this way. It'll be better for you. And you just walk. Here's some food. You put it in your mouth and you eat it. You don't have anything to do with anything anymore. You're non-existent. I don't exist anymore. Just ask my mother. No. I just say that so distant from my family. I love my mother. It's wonderful. To think that he's so different, maybe my family thinks he doesn't exist or something. I don't know. But to speak to who I know myself to be and who I've been my whole life and everything, I don't exist. It's a done deal. It's a signed contract. And I don't want to. I want the bird, the wisdom. I'm smart enough, thank God, to know that that's how reality is. When you have great wisdom or a great teacher or great something, you don't mess around with asserting yourself all the time. You become what they want you to become. So you have to decide what wisdom is. My favorites list. What people that you want to guide your life, it's on the list. The sound of the bird, it's on the list. The memories on the list. And little by little, you transfer you figuring everything out to that stuff living through you and doing yes and no and right and wrong. It chooses. You don't choose anymore. That's wisdom. That's how you learn. In Zen, they call it Shoshin, beginner's mind. You become the consummate beginner, like a child, which means that you learn faster than anybody. So if you need to learn how to send mimosas to the island, all of a sudden it becomes extraordinarily simple. You call everybody that's involved to do with food distribution between the islands, and you talk to them. You say, I hope I'm not bothering you, but I'd like to sell some of these mimosas. It's a recipe from my grandmom, and they're all from India, and it's really, really taken off here in Kauai, or it's kind of a lie. It's doing good in Kauai. People are really enjoying it. And what do you say? So just with transparency and honesty and groundedness, even though we want to exaggerate, maybe like I just did, it just becomes very clear that it all, they're going to map it back to you. They're going to say, who are you? What's your energy like? What do you look like? What do you speak like? Do you listen? Do you care about me? But it's just, they just want to know that they can eat you. And it's going to be good food. Not, you forget the mimosas. Nobody cares about that. But they want to know if they can eat you and enjoy it. And if you can be present to them when you make that phone call, because you pre-cycled it. You already are doing it now. It's here, and the person's there. Now, who are they? They're a person that doesn't want to be bothered. They're a person that has talked about this and they worked it out. Now you're a nobody that needs their energy to get it. What, I don't know. Who are they? What's going on? And you start to do psychic recon. You feel who they are. What's the color of their boat or plane, or what's the service? How long have they been there? What kind of car do they drive? Where are they from? Are they from the East Coast? What? Who are they? What time do they go to bed? Do they stay up at night? What do they want? What do they need? You can learn everything. Psychic is very, very real. But when you start to do this recon of sitting here and allowing them to talk, you begin to kind of know everything about them. And then when you talk, it's just very easy to heal them or be their friend or something. And then they say, oh, well, sure, I have a store and we could try to sell, let's say, 20 a week for the next couple of weeks. Is that okay for you? And just send them over and we sell them, we'll send the money. Okay. It doesn't cost anything for you to send them 20 mimosas tomorrow morning and to do that phone call. But if you don't get the darshan from the great master William Martino, you don't get the darshan from something on your list that works for you, and you don't have any way to give anything to Anthony or anybody else. So that's my point I'm trying to tell everybody. That I know from the school of true desperation and hard knocks that if you don't become receptive and follow along to the drumbeat of the universe and to true wise people, you're not going to get anything in this life. And we want to get stuff, right? How about sanity, healing, good relationships? How about those things? So if you want the most important things in life, you've got to find out what that my favorites list is and start being a student of it. And you could know that my favorites list will dance with your needs, and those 3 steps will encompass all of it. And to continue to work at it, because you're every human being, so you've got this profound need to live, grow, change, mature, listen differently, speak differently, do it differently, and accept yourself as you are. You're not going to understand anything. I'm not going to say anything that's perfect and then, yeah, I got it. That's what everybody wants. You look at a commercial on TV, buy the thing, you're complete. You get it. Well,
Yeah.
that's not going to work, is it, that way? So you start again.
It's the quick fix or quick solution. So what you're saying, what people want.
Well, we're under an illusion that it's going to work. And we should believe in it. One moment can change everything. That's the theme song for this class. We want to believe in it, but let's believe in it with some seasoning of reason. And the seasoning of reason is that the black pit of disease and distortion that you are is going to crush you into the grave. And you have no choice. You couldn't change it if you had to. Unless you can do the rainbow body, we'll go for it. But otherwise, everybody that you see, pretty much, everybody you ever known, that's what happened to them. So reason, the commercial that says buy this and you get it, or the program that says, do this.
Oh, yeah.
So you start again. Every time that you can find a way to release inside of yourself one more little bit of something, your whole body goes into profound, deep rest, deep relaxation. And that's what's needed for Anthony's bones. And that's what's needed for you and all of us. Yeah. It's the opposite. Real teaching produces void. It doesn't produce pulse. So everything is based on pulse, end with a bang, and it's all great. We're going to vote for me and we're going to make it work. And I finally got to the place of utter astonishment that every president talks about that. Every president wannabe or whoever's running, they all talk about I'm going to change everything. I don't think that's ever worked. I want a president to say, we have no hope to change everything.
Yeah, and then see what happens with that. Routine. I'm just thinking if I have a question, but I don't. It's from what you're saying, it's a lot. I mean, I just sum it up. I don't think even I can sum it up is going back over and over again, the repetition and it's just continuous. You know, you can't think, oh, I got it now. That's it.
The best I know is that there is no solution. Not possible. Very dark message. But if you accept it, if you accept step 1, you go to step 2. Now you're in a place where you can receive some kind of transformation for yourself, not ever for anybody else. You can slow down more and find the ground more. With every person that's ever bought a mimosa and every neighbor that's near you, you can find your ground more. Everybody's trying to pull energy. Well, if you touch the ground, you'll be the one pulling energy. And that's a useful thing. I think in the long run, it's based on what are you going to do with the energy. So who leads? Who gets the energy? It's a very important question. The only way that you can do relationship is that you're both connecting to the earth and the life and the universe to get the energy to then have a selfless purpose. Lena and I are going to change policy in Mexico, and we're going to give away money, and we're going to heal people's lives. So now we can get all the energy. Well, that's good.
Then what did you say about the energy, the last thing you said?
Well, then you'll get all the energy. So it'll cycle through your body, so it'll make you 10 times healthier and stronger and better in every way. But the caveat is that you have to be a servant with it. If you're not willing to be a selfless servant with it and honor other people rather than demonize them, that's hard for me with the martial arts stuff because I'm wondrous at destructo. But I'm learning that the real, Jedi master of energy and martial arts is like jiu-jitsu. And those guys are teaching me the balance of it all. It's extraordinary professionalism and balance, and never overforce it. That's actually a way. So in martial arts, that's the Jedi martial art, jiu-jitsu. And one of the most confusing things you can understand is how does grounding or setting a boundary and neutrality, letting people go their own way, and positive, meaning animating people, how does that all function if you're the servant? If you're the servant, are you supposed to be a doormat and let everybody do whatever? I don't have much of a context around that yet. I keep trying. It's like I have all the meditation and I have all the energy, and then I get to the final thing of the interface with the world and how you do grounding and neutrality and positivity at the same time. And I still don't have a wrap on that makes any sense, other than these auto, negative, neutral, positive. So when you're in a coherent place, it's automatic if you're going to ground something, if you're going to be neutral to something, if you're going to animate something. Also, oceanic perception, ocean speed, internal speed, wave response, means that if I'm present to the universe right now and all these people, then it generates internal speed in me, like the wind generates a wave in the water. So if I'm the ocean and the wind comes, if you say something, do something, whatever, I don't even have to think about it. It just creates a wave. And the wave responds to your wind. So this auto, negative, neutral, positive, oceanic perception, meaning that you're not just in this back and forth with the person. You're living your dharma right now. You are living your life right now. You're experiencing the universe right now. You as a sovereign God, you could call it almost. Because you're wondrous in your own mind and body, in your own place of the earth that you're on, in your own sky, and your own stars. That's way bigger than any person. So if you communicate with me in that context, then you can segue over to the other idea, which is ocean consciousness, internal speed wave response. So you automatically can engage in a back and forth with the other person. You don't even do anything. And it automatically has negative, neutral, positive in it. Somehow those ideas are going to fit together. I think the 1, 2, 3 steps, and then the next evolution is 0, 1, 2, 3, which means that all is invested in void. So when you do 1, 2, 3, that all goes into void. Void only happens by having your things that can be touched or your problems to be agitated and transformed. So if you do step 1, step 2, step 3, you should have more spaciousness and timelessness. That's 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and then ABC. Rooting, blooming, printing. When you come back from meditation, you got to touch the earth. You got to get heavy. You got to have a lot of root. You got to activate everything so that there's more feet, more earth. Otherwise, you have nothing to say in the world. You have nothing to contribute. You have nothing to defend. You're a nobody in the world. Because there's no root. There's no magnetism. There's no strength. Spiritual power is rooted in gravity. That's why you go to the feet of the master. Because there's so much gravity, it just drops you. If you see the sexiest young guy on the beach or something you ever saw in your life, you might be like, you just about drop forward. So that's the feet of the real masters. You should go to those because that's where all the gravity is. And that's why people, if somebody has an incredible presence in one way or the other, people start to kowtowing. They bow in your energy. So anyway, gravity, that's rooting, that's A, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, ABC. A is rooting. So it's a whole process when you come out of meditation to find the earth, to touch the earth, the under earth, the ball of the earth. And you got to sort through your body to be able to go down more. Because you always want to go up. You don't want to go down and become solid right here. If you're making the mimosas, you want to be solid in your feet and doing this Tai Chi mimosa making. Get the spices, the thing. Don't be frenetic. Don't be erratic. That won't help you. Tai Chi. And then it's all grounded. People eat the mimosa, they hit their feet because the energy was there because that's what you are in relationship to that mimosa. And so it carries in space, it echoes in space. Grounding echoes in space. And where does it echo in space? Down there in the roots, like elephant communication. Elephants, they communicate with the feet. So that's really the basis of physical psychic communication. Now, once you have landed like that, once you have become solid right there where you all are, you, Anthony, and the guys on the call with her gal, it's time stopped. You don't care about the process anymore. You care about making this rooting happen. All right. So if it happened to some certain degree, now you can go to blooming. Now you peek out at the island mimosa scenting. You peek out at making the mimosas of today. You peek out before all that at your environment. What's on the other side of the window? Where's the neighbors? What's going on in your life? Where do you feel like imposed upon by psychic things? And how can you bloom beyond the psychic magnetism between you and other people? So if you bloom enough, then you're beyond the dynamics, your karmic interactions between you and the quantum field. God, I'm so fucking smart. Jesus. Can't stand it. So how do you bloom, How do you bloom? There's a difference between being smart and being able to say it and doing it. So that's why I teach, because then I'll get you to do it and then you can teach me. So you bloom. Okay. Now blooming is a process. Blooming means that your environment there, you need to touch the trees and the plants that are around there, and you need to touch the environment and the people around there, and you need to open up to nature that's beyond psychic magnetism. What's stopping you from being a giant is the fear of opening up with Anthony, opening up with this one, opening up meaning having a vast presence. But if you have your presence with nature and you sacrifice your relationships in exchange for your experience with nature, then they become part of nature. So you can cultivate them and they can become better. But you have to get beyond the give and take. This is you in this room and him in this room and this and that. But you don't ever get beyond it. So now you have a process, blooming. You now take the energy of meditation that's been rooted, the blessing, and you start to open up. And you find the stars, and you find that tree, and you find that place in the house, and you find your spices in the kitchen and the making of the mimosas. Now you start getting into that, and now the energetic difference in relationship between you and Anthony is twice as different than now, because you're in something you do, something you enjoy. So now you have this empowerment through which to benefit your relationship and his bones and your emotions. It's a process. I only know it like a fool. 0, 1, 2, 3, ABC. But it's how enlightenment naturally happens. So now you're vast, you're big as, you're with the stars around the whole planet. And you're sitting here. And you're breathing. And then you print. So now you got the bloom. So you got the root going and the bloom going. And that's all going to go into the 0, 2. The root's going to go into spaciousness and timelessness. The bloom's going to go into spaciousness and timelessness. But first you do them. You do the root. You do the bloom. Now in the bloom, you start to have X-ray vision. So you can heal stuff. So if you're talking to the mimosa guy and gal with the transportation to the islands, or the store you never contacted that's in Kauai, just go there. There's a few mimosas. You want to try them out? Give me a call if you want to sell them in the store. See ya. Just spread the love. You do this process before you go out and do the mimosa, before you make your mimosa. Now the mimosas have the magic. If you don't do the process, they only have your birth magic, which most of the time doesn't carry through, because even though if you have a lot of birth magic, the psychology and the karma messes it up. So you actually have to train and stuff. So printing means that you went through this whole process and now you're going to print the healing on the other person. Because you already see that the person that goes in the plane, and you know the person or whatever, just show up at their house and give them 20 mimosas. And tell them, listen, you can have some of the mimosas, and let's see if we can get something going on the other island. You want to offer them to one of the health food restaurants or stores? That's it. But you got the power in your hand. So now when you touch, they're going to have a blessing. And they're going to want to do it. But it all dependent upon this endless repetition, starting over with the step 1 and getting all the way to printing, to where you can pre-print your universe, your family of origin. Pre-print, touch them. Now you become boundless. You can walk around like a star does, like a Trump does. But if you don't do something right, then the power will be taken over. Somebody will take that power from you at some point. But the world is basically run by evil pigs who just gather the power and then use violence to keep it. But you have to enter that game by having that same kind of power, but by delivering it in a different way so that you're not overtaken by other people. Yeah.
By other people.
Yeah, because spiritual magnetism is like it moves between all the bodies all the time. So if you just allow your spiritual magnetism to be taken by other people because you don't have enough root that naturally protects you, then you never can go forward with things in life. Let's listen to a little Amachi
Okay.
meditation. I know we haven't meditated. Oh, here's Yogananda, Great Light of God. I never sent you this one.
Dear
He
students
said,
Good.
from all over
Let's do it.
and friends, I know many of you had wonderful experiences today. And that's what you should remember.
In meditation
In meditation, depth
is the
the
principle of
thing.
experience.
Every day meditation
must be deeper than the previous day.
than the previous days.
Then you
Then
will reach God quicker.
But until
Your mind gets used to intensity of meditation, you will not appreciate
it will
long
not appreciate
meditation.
long meditations. I hope that this will be an example before your mind that whenever you can, 4 times a month or even once a month, if you can take several hours off and intensely meditate, you will feel yourself nearer to Christ, God, and the Masters than ever. Go deep
Or taste not the Pyrenean spring. Go
An
deep in
author
this
said
path.
that. Go deep in this path. Simple little
Nibbling of prayer.
does not get you the intensity of God's presence and the intensity of His bliss. If you are forced to remain awake for a month and then you are suddenly allowed to sleep, then the joy that you will feel at the approaching of this sleep, multiply that
1,000 million times. 1,000 million times the cocktail of deeper sleep.
of deepest sleep does not describe the ever new contact of joy in ecstasy. And until you have that ecstasy, do not be satisfied. But
Do not give in to moods.
Results are found
By forgetting the results.
and going on working for them. And the only way is, as you do not make any effort to sleep. Why? Because you have practiced sleeping. You go to bed, dump your body into the subconscious and go to sleep and feel that joy. Without that subconscious joy, the diurnal existence would have been impossible. The problems of the days when we act as mortals, we could not have borne unless God made us dump our bodies and forget our physical self and have the joy of sleep. You think sleep is rest? No, sleep is a reminder of what is beyond the state of sleep, the state of the soul. Your soul, as the perfect reflection of God, remembers all the incarnations you have gone through, but your soul becomes a physical ego during wakefulness, when you think you are a body and you have possessions and a name. And that's what does not remember. But the soul remembers the many births of the ego as a mortal being. So get to the soul, get beyond the subconscious. That's the purpose of Kriya Yoga. Read your preceptor every day, a little bit, and meditate. Meditation is a practicing the presence of God. Kriya Yoga is the highest practicing the presence of God, how the soul descended into the body and how to take it back to the spine and the brain, beyond the confines and the prison of the body into the vast infinite. And that's what you are trying to do. Your mind is on the surface of the body. You like to see what is good, hear, smell, taste, touch. And that's where you are locked up. Your conscience is locked up, but you have to withdraw it. Dim it away from there. And gradually take it beyond the muscles and settle it in the spine. That's what Kriya Yoga does. Spine and the brain are the altars of God. That's where the electricity of God flows down into the nervous system, into the world. And the searchlights of your senses are turned outwards. And that's why you love the senses. But when you will reverse the searchlights through Kriya Yoga and be concentrated in the spine, you will behold the Maker. 1,000 million suns do not describe the light of my Father. It is not a glaring light, but a light that is gentle and indirect, which is spread all over the world. In that light, in the glimmer of that light, all the universe you will behold as if in a mirror. So that's why do not in any way be a slave to the senses. Do not in any way be trapped by the senses.
I'll drop your
All the
face into your
senses were
hands.
given that you may be their master. Temptation was not given to destroy you, but to increase your strength. If you do not fight with a stronger person, you never get strength. The wrestler always fights with a stronger wrestler. So the senses, you think they are strong, but you are stronger. And if you fight with them, you will be stronger. If you give in to them, you will be weaker. And down and out, and all your happiness will be gone. God has purposely given sex and other senses not to destroy you, but to try your strength, to bring the immortal strength within, that you may recognize the great power of the infinite sphere of spirit which lies behind your little throbbing heart. So go deep into it. This is the purpose. Why keep it only for the Christmas day? But every now and then, go deep in meditation, very intense. Instead of going to the movies or turning on the greatest pest of the home, the television. Once in a while is all right, but get away from those televisions and too much radio. Concentrate. Hide yourself from people. Go into your room. Profess that you are going to get some rest. But instead of sleeping and going into the subconscious, go beyond. That's where the great God remains. Every night he dumps the whole universe. It is lost to your thought. The whole universal lot stays on a little piece of my thought. Rub that thought away and the universe is gone away. The universe is a dream of God. That's why it disappears at night. But you feel so happy. Then you are ready for the dream again to get the beatings of the world. Privations, rising costs, taxation, troubles, sudden deaths, millions died by accidents. What fun is there in the world but trouble? God doesn't want you to get mixed up with his world. He has this world to find out who would love him and not love his world. That's why Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita said, Samsara mrityu dukkha sagorat. Get away, Arjuna, from the ocean of suffering, death and misery. And why wouldn't God test? As I told you, sister was liberated after 20 years of suffering. If you can get eternal happiness, why shouldn't you? God has kept you on this wheel of births and rebirths. And you must not die with the symphony of your life unfinished. If you go out in the beyond with mundane desires, you cannot stay there. You have to come back here to fulfill those desires. If you haven't finished the desire for strawberry shortcakes, then you have to come back in America to live again. If you haven't finished your desire for courage, you have to be born in India again. But finish your desires. This life is a test. Why did Christ say that ordinary people seek the world, but all who are wise seek the kingdom of God? Because there is your happiness. There is your fulfillment of all the dreams of incarnations. That's why you should learn to meditate, become a spiritual alcoholic, where you will be so drunk with that joy that you will be able to do other works of the world and yet not be mixed up with it. So you must practice the presence of God, and in Kriya Yoga is one of the greatest proofs of the existence of God. Practice Kriya, and you will not suffer from moods. You who love experimenting with so many things, why don't you experiment with yourself and Kriya Yoga? In the calm, concentrate your mind in the spine, and there you will find, as one person wrote to me, I suddenly found my breath gone, and I settled myself in the spine and had the great visitation of the Almighty, ever new joy of God. God is ever new joy. In the mirror of his sphere, you will find the universe glimmering. So remember the purpose of this great message. We have started a great movement, and I came for a special dispensation, the interpretation of the scriptures, and giving the Kriya Yoga, the key to heaven. This is Peter's key to heaven. You can use it yourself with the help of the gurus. But join our churches regularly. Read, study the preceptor regularly. You can do it by yourself. The charcoal doesn't become red by itself. But when the fire enters, it all becomes red and glowing. Through the fire of the teaching of self-realization and the Guru's contact, through the teachings and practicing the teaching, you get that contact more than by only visiting the Guru, because he is busy for you. He is busy with God. Yoga means union, scientific union with God that you are receiving. Dump your body in the superconscious. That's all I do. I practice a few times Kriya, and I dump my body, and the body is gone. And I am in infinite bliss, the bliss that surpasses any description. So you all came from that. It is not the privilege of Christ and a few masters to go there. All waves, behind small and big waves, waves that are playing with the storm is the same ocean. Remember, no matter what your trouble is, God is with you, behind you. Seek him. Help him to pull you and make you as he is. And that you can do with the Kriya Yoga, studying the preceptor. Take the preceptor and study every day, even a little bit. Anywhere you will open it, you will find something that will lead you to God. And practice Kriya Yoga. Whenever you have a little time, practice 2-3 times. In order to be a prima donna, you can't practice a few minutes. You must keep your mind on the songs and practice. Then in a few years you will get there. So it is. If you follow self-realization to
nothing can take the place of that. If you really contact your suffering and confusion and worry and aging and whatever, you'll find that there's nothing more powerful in the world than that. You can't understand it, because it's just a person saying a bunch of words. But the pack, and Andrea and I are going to do that tomorrow, right before Anthony. Mm-hmm. We're going to do this. We'll put that one on, and put the Guru of the Beatles on, and I'll talk a little bit. And that's it. That's like the final dimension, is to become a student, receiving that. Don't worry about your behavior and giving up anything. Just do that.
Okay.
And you'll find that it's just amazing. It changes you and you don't even know it. Questions, comments?
Questions. No, just taking it all in, and just thank you. It's powerful to hear him speak. I actually listened to that talk the other day, and I'm just taking it back to just do it, the threes, and not just doing them, but I'm getting this feeling of what you said a couple of, like, it's not just the words, that it's more than the words.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
words
Yeah,
or something, but the words are good enough that it'll trap your mind into concentration, and that's when
yeah,
the transmission comes through. But you can't
yeah,
understand it when you look at a person like Gamachi and understand it. You can't speak about it in your mind and understand it, but you can feel it. And if you come to the place of trusting your feeling over your thought,
yeah.
then at least you'll have the solid principle that, wow, this is the best thing in life.
Yeah, that's because I'm getting the feeling, and it's helpful to say the words have almost, they have their purpose in that structure, so to speak, right? And then which is helpful, but not getting caught up in the story of the words, because that's where I feel like it can get kind of stuck.
Yeah, you got to forget the words because the words have nothing to do with it ultimately. They're just food for the mind, like medicine. And the medicine
Yeah,
is taken, and then you don't take more medicine. So words
yeah,
have to improve on the quality of the silence, and words have to lead you to the place of receiving grace, getting a massage. And
yeah,
so you find your my favorites list that's good enough, words, memories, everything else. And then you'll feel safe enough. You just receive. And since it's your my favorites list, it's all good. You can receive from that.
yeah. Because the safety's there.
That's right.
The safety is there, which is the key. And so, well, one of the keys. Safety there, because then you can let it in.
That's
If there's
right.
no safety, then if there's no safety, or even if there's no safety, then there's a wall. You can only receive so much.
Yeah.
So the more, it's almost like you have to continuously create even more safety. The
I
more
hope.
safety there is, the more safety there is, or you keep opening up to, the more you're able to receive and go back and
Yep.
repeat, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of
And
what you're
on
saying.
your list, it's just sovereign because this is your mathematical program. And I'm only
Yeah.
speaking to how you can create your program. I'm not an enlightened sage. So,
Mm-hmm.
you have to take me with a grain of salt. But the guidance of the my favorites list, the scribbles map, some of the bits of knowledge, you can say, oh, that one I like, and you put it in there. And then you go and you watch a Buddha movie, or movie about Buddha or Jesus Christ or something, and you say, oh, that one. So you are independent and sovereign in the end of this game. And that independence and sovereignty can say, oh, you know what? I didn't know, but every person's trying to heal me. Every person's God. Now you can start, once you have this independent experience, then you can start to break down the walls and let more people in and have more skills to work with the world, because you know that one of the principles is that everybody's God wearing a mask. And that's the best that I have. I don't have the symmetry of my energy or the perfection of my speech. I just have this map making.
Yeah, which is powerful in itself, and it's just authentic and real, and it's just the way that it's broken down. I have the word I keep getting is there's just opening up more doorways just to keep going, even more and more and more, and so I'm just reminded of the practicing, and that's I don't think I have anything more questions to ask. Just got to get at my homework.
Yeah.
to write out everything, and to do that, and then
It's
to
just endless.
continuously.
It's not going to work anyway. We're going to die. We're going to die big failures. So don't worry about getting it right. Just do it. 10 seconds,
do it,
5
yeah.
minutes, one long routine if you can in the morning, every morning. And then you'll see your life start to clear and you'll be on a different plateau. And then from that plateau, you'll be able to start it with step one again. But at least if we could find a way to start again with that step one, we might spiral into enlightenment. You never know. On a good day.
On a good day.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
my pleasure. Thank you too. Your awesomeness. I will put this video up for you one of these minutes here. And
Okay.
happy
And
Super Mimosa.
next Wednesday?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I'll put that in my calendar too. So
Yeah.
that's perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. Mon plaisir, mon ami.
Bye. Namaste. Oh, did I?